This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, and thanks for listening. I'm happy to be here. My name is Tom Keefe. I'm a assistant professor of humanities at the Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. And I'm happy to talk to you today about religion and public life. Where is religion in public sectors? Um, Here in Denver, we have this famous Mount Lindo Cemetery. In the winter, in particular, as it gets darker, we have this big cross up on the mountains. Everybody knows it. It's a big thing. I've done volunteer work down in El Paso, looking across the border into Ciudad Juarez. And there's this, I don't even know, what is it? Is it clay? Is it paint? I haven't been to the mountain, but I have seen it all those years. The Bible is the truth. It'll set you free. Always makes me wonder when I see these public displays of Christianity. What would happen if in Denver or in Ciudad Juarez, somebody put up a gigantic crescent and quotes from the Quran? I mean, I kind of know, don't we all? In Tennessee, when they tried to build a mosque some years ago, Pat Robertson, he said, this is a mega mosque. It's gonna signify the fact that Muslims are going to take over Tennessee. I really don't remember Pat Robertson being as upset when Joel Olson built his church, right? The same Pat Robertson did not label Lakewood Church a mega church and claim that Joel Olson and Christians were taking over Houston. Why is it that when non-Christians, let me even go further, non-Catholic Christians, when they build churches, everything's kosher? See what I did there? It's mixing religions. And yet, we have different standards for different religions, don't we? More NIMBYism, not in my backyard. Do you remember a while back? I think it was '09 in Switzerland. They passed a constitutional amendment by 57%, banning the construction of new minarets. Muslims can't build minarets at their place of worship. Could you imagine in Europe or North America, South America, Australia, New Zealand? Could you imagine in the so-called Western world if somebody tried to ban the building of church bell towers? Well, this is my backyard. Screw NIMBYism. I work on a beautiful, beautiful campus that was a Jewish campus. It was a Jewish tuberculosis hospital. We have a synagogue that I walk past every day. Am I supposed to pretend that it doesn't exist? The Isaac Solomon Synagogue? I'm supposed to just say that it didn't exist because it's not Christian. I mean, I'm not yet. I'm not trying to be too heavy-handed, but of course, in like Engel versus Vitale, right, 1962, the Supreme Court ruled that it's unconstitutional to have school prayer. We're on a Jewish campus. We don't go around requiring the recitation of the Shahada or the Shema or the Our Father. That's not what we're about. But there are places where the students want to pray. That's great. It's their First Amendment right to pray, but it's not acceptable for that prayer to be led by school officials. I, as a teacher, I can't, I'm on a Jewish campus. I can't lead the Shema at the beginning of every class. Let's use substitution theory. If only we applied substitution theory to religion in the public sector as readily as we defend our own neo-tribalistic demographic groups, right? I can list everything that everybody else does wrong, but I don't talk about what my neo-tribalistic groups do wrong. The fact that we advocate and we embrace the fact that students can lead prayer in public places, and yet Muslims are detained praying at the Twin Cities airport. This is ridiculous. As early as 1983, Lynch versus Donnelly. You can't establish a religion. You can't say it's okay to pray to one religion and not others. You can't build a creche, a nativity scene for one religion on public property, public space, and not allow others. If you put a creche up on public space in the United States of America in December, you have to put up or allow to be put up Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. You can't choose all or nothing. That's what they said. Even Justice Berger, the cranky old man that he was, he said you can't do it. And yet Roy Moore, moron, did I say moron? I meant pedophile. As Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Alabama, he was actually removed from his position because he put the 10 Commandments up in front of the courthouse. Not the Code of Hammurabi, the 10 Commandments, Sharia law, or whatever, Confucian laws and the 5 relationships. It wasn't a historical display of all of the laws that represent America and have influenced America. This was his middle fingering at the people of Alabama. I'm a Christian, I'm going to use Christian law. That's what he was saying. And yet, we have sympathy for Martha McSally. Not that she lost the Arizona race, but we have sympathy that the United States government imposed upon her the requirement that she had to respect the religion of Saudi Arabia. She won. Many people, including me, thought it was great that she won. She should not have to follow a specific religion while serving in that country, right? And yet in this country, when symbols are banned, Christian Thompson, Raymond Hosier, when Christian symbols are banned, we get upright. Why are they being banned? Damn liberals. Those dumb, darn liberals. I remember back, blah, 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 whatever. Do we have the same anxiety, the same upsetness, the same getting your Irish up, as I would say, from where I was from? When Jama and Zawidi were not allowed to practice their religion? Gym class? Banned from gym class because you won't wear shorts. Are you kidding me? Banned from the ROT, junior ROT. You're going to serve our country. And yet you get kicked out because you wear your hijab. Florida. I'm not giving out driver's licenses to people who don't show their face. Okay. I kind of get that, actually. I do. Excuse me. You want to be able to identify somebody. It's a legal document. Would we have the same respect of another religion, another tradition? I mean, Orthodox Hasidic Jews, the women wear wigs. Should we require them to remove their wigs for their driver's licenses so we can know what their real hair looks like? I don't think that would be accepted. This year, I'm speaking to you in November of 2018. In June of 2018, the Kentucky Board of Education unanimously, oh my God, approved Bible literacy standards in public schools. Should get them a copy of the Constitution. Maybe they can check their literacy standards of the Constitution. Literacy standards for the Bible in public schools. And yet I seem to remember in December of 2015, one teacher in one school gave one assignment on Islam. It created such a backlash. They had to close every school in the district on December 18th, 2015. Because, this is Muslim indoctrination. Okay, I need to go back. Oh, Kentucky can unanimously approve Bible standards for their public schools in 2018. But one school, one teacher, one county in Virginia has to close because they had an assignment about Islam. Okay, all right. I mean, it's not like in the Constitution, for example, there's this oath of office. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8. The president-elect of the United States has to take this affirmation, this oath. It doesn't say that it has to be religious. Certainly doesn't say it has to be biblical. In fact, in Article 6, Paragraph 4, it specifically says there's no religious test to be a politician, an elected officer in the United States of America. And yet when Keith Ellison in, 06 got elected, Virgil Good, not so good, he said that Ellison had to use a Bible. Lots of people said he had to use a Bible. But Good, not good, went further. He said that Ellison's decision to use a Quran to take his oath of affirmation to be a United States representative, quote, the values and beliefs traditional to the United States of America are under attack, and if American citizens don't wake up, there will likely be many more Muslims elected to office and demanding the use of the Quran. OMG. We need to be careful. Could you imagine if more U.S. citizens that look different, pray different, might think different, get elected? Could you imagine what that? Oh wait, that's called diversity, and yeah. Anyway, oh my God, Virgil Good, you ain't so good. In fact, the Constitution says the president has to take an oath. And it specifically says what the president has to say. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the president of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, protect, preserve, defend the Constitution of the United States. No Bible, no, so help me God, not there. At least 4 presidents did not use a Bible. Teddy Roosevelt in 1901 did not use a Bible. John Quincy Adams, Franklin Pierce, they actually used a book of law. How dare they, those secularists? They must be humanists. Burn them. And Lyndon Johnson, oh my goodness, used a Roman Catholic missile on Air Force One. Not a missile that Air First one was shooting, but you know what I mean. Are they less presidents of the United States because they didn't use a Bible? I mean, I get that Americans are Christian. This is a Christian country. In 2010, it was estimated to be 71% that were Christian. Yeah, adding Protestants and Catholics together. Not that Protestants and Catholics wanted to be added together. It might be even as high as 75%, which is going down. But this Muslim threat that people are talking about, less than 1%. Less than 1%. There are two different views of America, which leads to two different views on how religion exists in public life, in the public sector. These clamoring sides keep saying, this is my America. One side says, well, we're multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multi-racial, we should all like kumbaya, sing together, like coexist, like, melting pot, salad, bowl, whatever, that this is America. And others remember very clearly that Jesus was one of the founding fathers and hung out with George Washington and John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, even though they were actually deists. But that's awkward. But why let facts, bother us? That Jesus created the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. We are a Christian nation, and that mentality affects the worldview of the very politicians that represent us. My good friend, Dana Rohrabacher. Too bad he lost his seat, California 48. He introduced at least 3 bills to Congress declaring a Christian genocide. There are Christians dying in Syria, in Iraq. Christians are dying. We should stop it. Oh, wait, there's a genocide going on right now, the Rohingya genocide. Oh, but they're not Christian. They don't look like us or pray like us. Awkward. Dana, where were you? Oh, Dana would tell me that the Christians, the refugees from Syria are Christian, and we should help them right now. He would ignore my question about the Rohingya. And I would love to say to my good friend Dana Rohrabacher, California 48, not anymore because he lost his seat. He would say back to me, well, I would say to him, how about that migrant caravan? Because you care so much about Christians that you've introduced like 3 at least bills about the Christian genocide in Syria and Iraq. What would you say about these migrants that are coming up from Central America? He would say, quote, I don't know who's behind this and financing this column of invaders coming into our country, but it didn't just happen on its own, unquote. That's what Dana would say. He said it. So he's so bent out of shape that Syrian and Iraqi Christians are dying and could care 2 shits less that Central American Christians are dying. There are these factors, these influences, these biases that we all have. It's our identity construction. Gender, nationality, ethnicity, race, religion, even the others, right? Culture, subculture, socioeconomic status, education, geography, career, profession. Isn't it interesting how we can sidestep something like religion? It's really, really important when the Christians are dying in Iraq, but I don't care when Christians make up the migrant caravan that are coming looking for asylum here in the United States. It's interesting how it's not just our identity construction, it's also which is the most important part of our identity construction in differing situations. And increasingly, politics has become a tribe. This neo-tribalism is destroying our country. I went to a conference at the Tuskegee Community College in Reno. It was the Nevada Council for the Social Studies. The room I was presenting in was in the Student Life Center. They had this whiteboard that was in front of the Student Center, pre-existing the conference. And somebody had written down, like, presumably one of the directors of Student Life, what do you want to let go of? Oh, I want to let go of memory. I want to let go of hate. I want to let go of negativity, toxic relationships, anxiety, lack of trust, grief, guilt. That's powerful stuff. Some jackass wrote Democrats. What do you want to let go of? Democrats. They could have just as easily written in, I want to let go of Republicans. How is it that we have turned political ideology into some kind of demonic othering? It's about identity construction. When I do a longer presentation, I tell people, I have 3 handouts. I'm like, hey, let's do handout number 1. Who am I? What is your gender, race, nationality, ethnicity, religion? And I say, hey, I'm male, I'm Caucasian, I'm an American, I'm Irish, Hungarian, and English. I don't like to talk about the English. I was raised Catholic, And then I ask people to rank them. How would you rank that? The Vice President of the United States, the 50th governor of Indiana, Mike Pence, he says, there's a famous quote of his, I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. That's what I love. He's putting it in order. So in order, what are you? Well, many Americans would say, like, I'm an American first. And I think that Americans also, whether they're going to admit it or not, probably then think about race, then gender, then religion, maybe ethnicity. Depends, right? It's acceptable to be Irish or Italian, not acceptable to be German. How many German flags have you seen flying from houses? Mexican goes back and forth, depends on where you are, right? There's no English flags flying. English Americans, they're like invisible. Some ethnicities are just not allowed to celebrate their heritage. But importantly, other people might have a different ranking. I mean, there could be a different ranking right here in the United States. My brother and I were both male, both raised in the same place, same parents. Might rank each other, rank ourselves differently. My handout number 3 that I usually use, I then ask people to compare themselves to the average American. The average American is female, even though I don't think anybody would say that females dominate America. The average American, nationality-wise, is American, right? Yeah, sure, we have tourist visas and tourist and student visas and all that kind of stuff, and non-resident aliens, green cards, illegal, undocumented, whatever. But most people in the United States are American. Most people in the United States are Christian. You can debate and divide whether they're Protestant, Catholic, whatever. Hey, they're Christian. The biggest ethnicity is German, followed by, English, Irish, etc. Most Americans are Caucasian. However, my point is this, and this is where I hope I'm building to a point here. When people look in the mirror, if they mirror the typical American, how often do you think they're actually aware of it? They're not. I'm not. We're not. But when you don't mirror the typical American, how often do you think people are aware? All the time, right? I grew up in Rhode Island, an Irish Catholic state. I identify as Irish and Catholic. I don't talk about my Hungarianness in Rhode Island, but maybe if I was in Bridgeport or Cleveland, I'd talk about being Hungarian and not talk about being Irish. how we identify ourselves affects our worldview and our appreciation of ourselves, or deappreciation, as well as our appreciation, deappreciation of others. Not understanding identity construction leads to this sense of othering, the other. We perceive those who demographically self-identify differently as the other. And that's when we fail to recognize the rights of the other and other religions in public space. My name is Tom Keefe, and I'm clearly the babbling professor. Thanks for listening, though.